Lyrical forever, but I'm not, so you're lucky. I'm actually in today for Stuart Varney, 10 a.m. Eastern. Let's get straight to your money. The major markets all up, all modestly so, although the Nasdaq up 138 points, good for another 0.7% gain. Continue to keep an eye on the 10-year Treasury yield. The higher this goes, the more headwind it provides for equities. It's still right up there, around 4.62% on the 10-year. Taking a look at the price of oil, up slightly, right around $70 a barrel, up a little more than 1%. And Bitcoin making a bit of a comeback, was up $3,000 last time we checked. Same story, up $3,000 at $97,282. Now this, one Democrat strategist telling the New York Times that the Democrat brand is in the toilet. They say there's no clear message and no clear leader before Donald Trump takes office. Meantime, in Politico, one person likened the Democrats to an ostrich because they've got their heads in the sand and are absolutely committed to their own ideas, even when they're failing. Kayleigh McGee-White joins me now to talk about all of this. And Kayleigh, is there no clear leader right now among the Democrats? What do you think?
I think there is a clear leader. It's just from the left side of the party, which is the problem. And there is a clear message. Again, the problem is just that Americans rejected it. But the Democratic brand is certainly in the toilet because they've embraced things that are inherently anti-American. You know, the woke language policing, the burdensome regulations, the sort of nanny state-like control over the individual choices that Americans make. This election was a rejection of all of that. And if you think back to 2016, Ashley, the election's results, Donald Trump's win at the time, was largely seen as a rejection of Hillary Clinton as a bad candidate. This time around, it was much bigger than that. Voters rejected the entire Democratic Party apparatus. I think of many of the voters that I talked to in my home state of Michigan who said they were voting for Trump not because they agreed with everything that he said, but because they were so repulsed by what the Democratic Party had become. And so until Democrats realize that their agenda is the problem, that their party has become the problem, they're going to continue to lose.
Yeah, and they haven't apparently learned the lesson, I don't think, from the election. But let's move on. I want you to talk about this one. Senator Rand Paul just exposed President Biden's wild spending spree in his 10th annual Festivus report, and it shows more than $1 trillion in government waste just this year alone. Watch this.
You know, I got a lot of problems with big spenders in both parties. And here's the thing, everywhere you look, you find more of this stuff. $1 trillion. That means we found a lot of waste, but it's everywhere. It's in all the big departments, in the Department of State. It's in NIH. It's in the National Science Foundation. And people wonder, why does it exist every year? We have this Department of Doge. Are they going to be able to get rid of it? Well, the only way to get rid of it is to spend less money.
Well, that's true. And Kayleigh, look, millions of dollars spent on drag shows, pickleball courts. This is the kind of stuff that Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy are going to be taking aim at, I would hope.
Yeah, a pretty depressing way to start the Christmas season if you're a United States taxpayer. But I'm glad that Senator Rand Paul continues to do this report because it's so important for Americans to grasp just how irresponsible and wasteful with our money that our lawmakers have become. And you're right, DOGE is very important, and I believe it has an important role to play in the incoming Trump administration. But one of the important points here that I think Rand Paul does a good job of highlighting is that this funding, this wasteful money, is approved from somewhere, and that somewhere is Congress. The lawmakers are the ones who approve these funding packages, who fund these ridiculous grants and these programs. That is where this has to start. So it actually starts with us, the American taxpayers, holding our lawmakers' feet to the fire on how they're spending our money.
Exactly. And the more you know, the more you hate it. I want to get to this one too, Kayleigh, if we can. President Biden getting backlash after he commuted the death sentences of 37 federal death row inmates just days before Christmas. It included a career criminal who fatally shot 2 female bank employees multiple times, including one of the victims he hunted down as she hid under a desk. Listen to this.
It's 2 days before Christmas. I can only imagine the grief and the shock that these families are experiencing as they get ready for the holidays, remembering the loved ones that were lost and now having to deal with this sort of insult to injury. And I think he's cementing his status as one of the worst presidents in American history, certainly this side of Woodrow Wilson.
We didn't commit that crime. Reigning counsel did. He made that choice that day. a crime that is punishable by the death penalty. 12 jurors unanimously voted for the death penalty. That is what was fair, and Biden took that away from us.
Kaylee, why is Joe Biden doing this?
Well, I think there's a question of whether it's Joe Biden or whether it's his staffers and a question of his competence here. But let's say it was Joe Biden and he, for whatever reason, feels very convicted about the federal death penalty. That point that the juror just made is so important because what Biden is doing in this case is he is undermining confidence in the criminal justice system. These cases went before a jury of the criminal's peers. They were then decided by a judge who applied the appropriate sentencing in those cases. Biden does not get to come in and undermine the American people's resolve in these cases. It is a total abuse of the pardon power and really a final slap to the American people on his way out the door.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Kaylee McGee White, thank you so much for joining us on Christmas Eve, and Merry Christmas to you and your family.
You as well.